What are character strengths and what role do they play in our working lives?
Character strengths is a phrase that was coined by some of the big thinkers in this area of why it's so important to know our strengths and to play to our strengths. It goes back again to the fact that when we are on the defensive, we don't think as clearly. But on the other hand, we know that it's important to learn and grow and develop. So how do you square that fact that when you're on the defensive, you're not thinking as clearly, and it's important for our sense of self and our sense of worth to grow and to develop and learn new things where you're naturally probably feeling out of your depth at least some of the time. And thinking about your strengths and knowing your strengths and playing to those more deliberately is a beautiful way of squaring the circle there, because it means that you're much less likely to go on the defensive as you're exploring new territory if you're also thinking about how to play to your strengths. So for example, you might do the thinking to work out that your real strength is using data to tell a really strong story. Or you might think about all the peaks in your life and think, actually no, when I think about myself at my best, it's really about understanding the people that are around me and figuring out exactly how to speak to their concerns. Imagine you were then giving a presentation to your board for the first time. Bit nerve-wracking, perhaps you're the new CEO. You've got two choices. You can play to your strengths, or you can try and do what you think is expected of you. Playing to your strengths, if you're these two different people, looks quite different. You're still taking on this sort of difficult task of giving a presentation to the board and wowing them, but if you know that your strength is telling amazing stories through data, you'd use that as a jumping off point for this big new and perhaps slightly nerve-wracking task. If you know that you're really amazing at getting inside people's heads, you'd perhaps do some research on the people sitting around the table and think into where their concerns might be. Very different ways of tackling the same challenge. You're way better, you're way more likely to be at your best if you first think, what can I bring to this that is a strength of mine already?